Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Big Four podcast. My name is Luke Spring, up with your usual Brian, Nick, and Andrew. How are you guys doing tonight?
Terrific.
Spitting in a tube.
Okay. Yep, Brian's spinning a tube for COVID. But as always, we are your number two source for all things sports. If you know, go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Big Four _ podcast. There isn't really a lot to talk about, but there are some key things, like the Stafford trade. We'll get to that later on. Celtics played the Lakers in a big NBA, I guess, early season game over the weekend, and a few other stuff. But first, we will start with our Boston Red Sox right here and the retirement of Dustin Pedroia, which officially happened today, but realistically it happened back in 2017 because he played a total of 3 games in 18, 6 games in 19, and didn't play a single game in 2020. So he was just kicking it on the bench for the past 3 years. So he, in my eyes, he really retired 3 years ago, but he officially announced it today. And it really doesn't matter because he hasn't played.
Yeah, I watched the press conference. The poor guy kind of talked about his last couple of years. He had a full knee replacement, like entire full knee replacement. He apparently couldn't walk for months.
That's crazy.
He would wake up in the morning and his knee would be the size of a basketball. So poor guy.
Yeah, but it was just so anticlimactic because you knew it was coming. You were just like Brian, you texted. It was just like, oh, Dustin Pedroia retired. I was just like, oh. Yeah. Okay. You're not just like, oh man, like
it doesn't really matter.
You expected, like, you feel like he's been retired for 3 years, so it's just like, oh,
has been.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just like, oh, okay, thanks.
Unfortunately, I don't think he will be in the Hall of Fame. I just don't think he has enough numbers for All-Star game appearances and an MVP. I mean, 3 championships to go along with it, but realistically only 2 because he didn't contribute at all to 2018. But, he was a nice, solid player. He had good promise. He had a few iffy years in the middle of the 2010s. But overall, he was a good player. And it really, I'm just fine with him moving on because he really has been moved on for a long time. He was a good player. I liked watching him. I always loved I forget where it was and what the occasion was, but his speech where he talked about how David Ortiz didn't know his name after they played together for like 7 years.
Yeah.
Where was that?
He was like Peewee.
Yeah, Peewee.
That was on something.
I don't know, but I like that. But yeah, nothing really else to say. Nick, do you want to say anything about Dustin Pedroia?
He was for a short time when I was growing up, he was probably my favorite player on the Red Sox, or at least one of them. I mean, he was my first baseball jersey. It was Dustin Pedroia.
Yeah, that was like the only jersey I had for so long.
The blue alternate jersey way back when.
I had a USA like 4th of July jersey from like 2010.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. So yeah, he was my first player. I remember when I was in T-ball, I used to pretend like I was him. So I'd go up to the plate and I would do the bat thing a million times.
Mm-hmm.
He does. And at one point, my T-ball coach had to literally say, "Nick, you ready?" And I was still twirling the bat. I was like, "Yeah, 1 second," and I finished.
Yeah.
Who was your T-ball coach? Rob Parga?
Joe Kaufman.
No.
We were on the Durham Bulls. Andrew's on my team.
Yeah, we were nasty.
That's not T. I guess it is T.
It was T-ball.
I was thinking T-ball at the Y.
Yeah, but Luke, whatever team you were on, just not as good as the Durham Bulls.
The Ogden Raptors.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
No one was ever good as the Durham Bulls. We were
Durham Bulls remain undefeated.
And we got Frankie too.
Yeah. It was over.
Yeah. Okay. Dustin Pedroia no longer in baseball. I can definitely see him coming back and doing something with the Red Sox because that's all.
He said when his kids go to college, so like 11 years, he'll come back.
He'll be back at some point in some way.
He'll be the manager.
Yeah, he could be. Him and Veritek will tag team it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. No more Dustin Pedroia. And it really, I could care less. He's moving on. Good luck. Good for him. Good career. The biggest news, in my opinion, hold on. Sticking on the baseball train, we recorded our episode on Thursday, and probably about 20 minutes or less after Nolan Arenado. Was it Friday? Nolan Arenado got traded to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it because it happened literally 15 minutes after. But in my opinion, I have no idea what the Cardinals are thinking. I mean, sure, you get an MVP caliber player, but are they realistically a contender in the NL? No. So I mean,
I think they lose Ozuna. Then Ozuna's not going to sign back. I mean, if they do sign back Ozuna, or well, they lost Ozuna 2 years ago, and then they had that bat missing in the lineup, so they just got it back with Arenado, and they just kind of filled the gap. And they were pretty good with Ozuna. They were good hitters.
Their Goldschmidt signing was a big one, or did they trade for him? One of the two.
They signed him.
Either way.
Signed him.
Was he a free agent? That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and their rotation's somewhat getting better. I know Dakota
Flaherty's
Hudson had a really good
Flaherty's
year or
good.
two
Flaherty's
ago.
really good. I
Flaherty's
like
really
Flaherty.
good. I like Flaherty. I mean, when they made the playoffs, and they had Ozuna when they made the playoffs, and then he walked in free agency, signed with the Braves, and they missed the bat, and then I think did they miss the playoffs last year? I mean,
I don't know.
They had a bat missing in the lineup. That was a big spot right there. And I don't really know much about the Cardinals. I'm kind of speaking out of my butt right now, but I know they missed I know they're missing a big bat, and they got that back with Arenado. That's what I know. I know Arenado is one of the best hitters in the league.
I know, but I love Arenado. He's probably one of, if not my favorite player in the MLB, just because of how great he is offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
So I kind of wish he went to a better team. I mean, the Cardinals are fine, but they're not beating the Padres or the Dodgers or the Braves or the Mets. And they're just a really old team. Like, they have Dexter Fowler, who's in his 30s, Molina, who could retire any second. Matt Carpenter, who I feel like has
Adam
been
Wainwright, they re-signed again. That guy's like 68.
Is he realistically going to play? And then Goldschmidt's not that young either. He's still good, but he's not that young. So I don't know. It was a weird trade. I mean, again, if you're the Cardinals, I guess you go after him just because he's there. But I mean, as far as Nolan Arenado, you're just like, cool, I'm on a better team that's going to get me 15 more wins max.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, honestly, better situation for him just because it gives him a better chance to get into the playoffs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at the Rockies.
Oh, bye, Nick.
Yeah, bye, Nick. You look at the Rockies. I mean, do they really have a chance? No. The Cardinals definitely do have a chance.
The Rockies are so good too. They have Blackman, Story. They had Arenado. I just don't know.
Trevor Story is the 1 month of the year he's the greatest player of all time, and the other months he's like,
that is
freaking.
True.
I don't even know. Like,
that is true.
Yeah.
But they had an overall solid team. I just don't know why they couldn't put it together. Their pitching was never great though. That was the issue. Their pitching was subpar. So they could never figure that out. But I don't know. I wish he went to a better team, a contender. I don't wish he went to like a contender. Like if he went to I'd be fine if he went to San Diego, but they already had Machado, so that wasn't going to happen. But I would have been mad if he went to the Dodgers. I wouldn't have wanted that. Any other team would have been fine. It would have been cool to see him on the Mets. That would be really cool. Lindor, Arenado with that pitching rotation. But again, Chris Bryant is still out there for them to deal. I don't know. This has been a really...
White Sox. I mean, we don't want him in the AL, but like that, I feel like would make that
would be cool
really
too. But they do they have a third baseman? I mean, Abreu sometimes plays there, but he normally plays first, and then Tim Anderson's at second. Yeah, I guess they needed a third baseman, so that would have been.
Moncada's at second. Anderson's at
short. Sorry,
short.
That's
short,
I meant yeah. So I guess they needed a third baseman.
Who their third baseman is? I mean, I don't know.
I don't either. So that would have been a perfect fit, actually. Yeah, I wish he went to a better team.
And they have prospects, so I'm surprised they didn't go with that. I'm surprised they weren't.
Who, Chicago?
Aggressive. Now that I think about it, like St. Louis kind of came out of left field, but
And you have to think they also Chicago also has to think about both sides of it. At this point,
Moncada plays third apparently. He's listed as the third baseman.
But he plays second. Like he could play second.
And their other second basemen are listed as Nick Madrigal.
Madrigal.
And Danny Mendick.
He's a rookie, or he was a rookie last year. But they could have slotted him. But they also need to look two-dimensional too. Yes, the AL stinks and they could probably get out of the AL super easy, but when they have to go to the World Series, they're gonna have to face the Padres or the Dodgers or the Mets or the Braves, a team like that has a lot more talent than they do. So I think they should have been more aggressive trying to get guys, and Arenado was there. Maybe they can be in the bidding with New York for Chris Bryant with the Cubs, because like you said, Brian, they do have prospects.
Yeah.
So we'll see who.
That would be an
tries
easy
to
one for
upgrade.
Bryant.
Yeah.
What
But
else? Yeah, it would.
Yeah, I just don't understand why, because I just feel like it should be so easy to think about, oh, you should just go for Nolan Arenado because it's Nolan Arenado. Like, I mean, and especially in the AL, like if you really like your third baseman, if you really like your third baseman, first off, Arenado is better at defense and offense. And second, your third baseman can now just be a DH.
Exactly.
Poor Nick.
Poor Nick. His Wi-Fi is shot. We're trying to get him back on.
And I quote Nicholas Parga, "My Wi-Fi just gave up, and I don't know when it will come back to life."
Exclusive Big Three podcast right here.
Yeah, Big Three. We've had this. This is our second. This is our second show, right? Our second show of the Big
second
Three.
show.
Because we have a episode title by Nick, so I mean.
Oh, that is
like
true.
30 something is like by Nick.
Yeah.
So we'll move on. I wanted to wait to move on to the Stafford trade and see if Nick can come back, but we can move on now because I think we've talked enough about Nolan Arenado. But the Stafford trade, another trade where I was just like, that's kind of weird. But then I thought about it for a little bit more, and I thought that actually great for both the Lions and the Rams, because the Rams
are so in win now mode, but I just don't feel like the NFC's weird. Oh, hi Nick, how you doing, bud?
Nick's back.
Yeah,
we'll give him a minute. Nicky P.
But then the NFC is weird.
Yeah,
there's no like consistent NFC team.
Like who knows what the Packers or the Bucks going to look like next year, or the Saints are going to be terrible. So I mean, the Saints are going to be terrible. So maybe they're thinking, okay, there's another team that is out of the running for the NFC title.
And who really knows what the Bucks?
And who knows what the Bucks?
And
who knows what
they
the
still
Packers?
They still have a great defense too. And
yes, they do.
I mean,
number one in the league.
Yeah, Stafford's only had a top 10 quarterback twice. He's made the playoffs both times with those top 10 defense.
Oh, top 10 defense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
obviously,
I think it's a good move. But for the Lions standpoint, they get 2 first-round picks. I thought was ridiculous.
That's great for them.
Not only 2 first-round picks, a quarterback that was the number 1 pick 5 years ago by Nick. Also, they got a 3rd-round pick, which in the NFL is incredibly valuable. And I heard this, and I thought it was very smart if Detroit is really looking to stockpile draft picks. And the Patriots, I would assume, I mean, apparently the Pats offered a player and a 2nd-round pick, and that's it for Stafford. While Washington offered number 19, Carolina offered number 8 and another pick, and we offered we'll give you a 2nd and freaking Jacoby Myers.
Wait, that's
Stafford wanted to go anywhere except New England.
Except New England. That's super weird though that Carolina and Washington will both go after Stafford, because they are in completely different situations than the Rams. The Rams can contend. Those teams.
You would think they would want young guys.
Yeah, I know. You would think that they would be going after Jared Goff.
They would want their draft pick.
Or their draft pick.
They were both willing to trade their 1st-round draft pick. If you're Carolina, what the hell are you doing?
Exactly.
Why are you trading number 8 overall? But so if Stafford clearly isn't, or if Goff isn't that valuable based on the trade, because he wasn't the part of that trade. The picks were the important part for Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit can trade, say, just for the sake of the argument, to the Patriots for a 2nd and a 3rd, a 2nd and a 4th, a 2nd, 3rd, and a 6th, or something like that. And at the end of the day, Detroit walks away with trading Stafford for 2 firsts, a 2nd, a 3rd, possibly 2 thirds, and another pick. So you can walk away with 6 or 7 draft picks for basically just Stafford. I don't see why they wouldn't do that, and then they can still draft a quarterback at number 8 overall.
Yeah. And
I feel like that would be almost the smarter route, because then you're almost like, what are they really doing with Goff? Like, is Goff going to be committed there? Or, like, they're in a weird spot.
Who wants to commit there?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's also a weird division if Green Bay's kind of in an interesting situation.
everyone's so down on Jared Goff, but I mean,
he's not great.
He's not great, but he's not terrible.
He's not a god awful quarterback. He's going to be a middle of the road guy. That's just who he is.
You would think trading Goff in a second round pick would be enough for getting Stafford.
I know. If that's the offer for Matthew Stafford, what the hell is Deshaun Watson gonna be?
4 at least.
It's so ridiculous.
4 at least. But he had a great 2018 with where is it? I can't. I don't need to see the numbers. I know he had a great 2018 because he brought that team to the playoffs and to the Super Bowl. And had a really good year that year. 2019 was a little bit iffy. I mean, he didn't have a great year, and then this year he was fine. He was just average. He looked like him and Baker Mayfield looked the exact same. They were those quarterbacks that will turn the ball over a decent amount of times. Oh, Nick's back. Decent amount of times, but also will put their team in winning positions. Like, they're not going to make the big play, but they're also not going to turn it over a ton and lose the game for them. And that's what both of them did this year, and they went to the playoffs. So, I mean, I'm not super high on Jared Goff, but he's not terrible, and he's only had 4 real seasons. His rookie season, he only played 7 games. So, that doesn't really show a lot. So only 4 real seasons. He has a lot of room to grow. And with the right coach, I think he can. He has been to a Super Bowl. He has. And with the right coach, I think he can grow. I don't know what that right coach for him is, because I think Sean McVay is a pretty good coach. And it clearly didn't really work out there. So I don't know what coach is going to fit Jared Goff. But I think if he finds it, he can be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nick, we just talked about the Jared Goff trade while you were gone. Have any thoughts
sorry.
on it?
Yeah, my Wi-Fi just decided to.
Oh, that's not surprising. It's the
end its own life
Wi-Fi.
today. We're getting a new router on Thursday.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Router like 16 times. You're living in
all right.
We've changed the router now for the 3rd time. Getting the console didn't help. We're talking about the Jared Goff trade. Anything in particular you want me to harp on, or
anything? We just were like talking about it and who it benefited, which both teams benefited in reality.
Yeah, I think the obviously Stafford has a big it's a pretty good resume. Statistically, he's got really good passing numbers in his career, and obviously the wins haven't been there. So, I guess some of the onus could be put on him, but he's never been gifted with a good defense. So, it is what it is, or a great coach. So he's going to get a little bit of both there. And
Jim Bob Cooter,
number one defense, and one of the best one of the better coaches in the league, probably the best coach Stafford's ever had.
Okay.
And
I was going to say, be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful, Nick.
Why?
Because you said the best coach, and then you paused. I was like, were you going to say the best coach in the league? Be careful, but.
No, and then for Goff, I don't know what the comment was. Be somewhere where he's appreciated. I mean,
we were basically saying how the Lions got exactly what they needed in 2 first-rounders and a 3rd rounder. Plus, they got a younger quarterback, which they can either keep and try to develop, or they can trade for more picks.
Well, the point is, I mean, what worth are you going to get out of Jared Goff if Marvin Jones and Golly aren't going to come back? What worth is he going to do?
I think they should trade him. So you missed
exactly.
That.
I think they should flip him.
They trade him to the Patriots for more draft picks.
Trade him to the Patriots. Trade him to whoever. Get some more draft picks. I mean, the Lions. Can't build. They're not going to build around Goff. I mean, they gotta stick with his crappy contract, and they're not going. You don't build around this guy. You get rid of him. You work through the draft. I mean, you're entering now unfortunately, their rebuild has been a long time now, and they haven't really made any big strides in that. But
they're starting an even deeper rebuild with an 0-16 season next year.
You're really entering that rebuild phase where hopefully you can find a couple of Pro Bowlers or All Pros in that phase and try to advance.
They won't be
forward
0-16 because when they fall down, they're going to bite out the kneecap off of their opponent.
Oh yeah, that's right. My bad. I forgot that.
But the team that is going to be 0-16 is the Eagles, because we are going to have a plan, and we're going to be ready to go. That's going to be easy for our guys, but hard for the opponent.
Who was that? Who said that?
Their head coach.
Oh.
Their new head
What?
coach. This is how he talked in
What's
his
his name?
press conference.
Is that
Nick
is that-
Sirianni. He said,
Oh.
"We're gonna have a system that's it's."
So was he? Did he sound like?
It's gonna
Did
be
he sound like
easy
World
for-
Series? What's his face?
Rob
Rob
Manfred.
Manfred.
He's
Yeah.
like, it's gonna. He wasn't like stuttering, but he didn't know what to say. He was like, "We're gonna have a system, and our system's gonna be easy for our guys, and we're gonna be good in our system, but our system's gonna be hard for opposing teams, and
Okay.
our system is gonna be good." Like that's all he said. He used like good system and our guys. And then what was the other one I did? Oh yeah, Dan, or what's his name?
Doug Peterson? Or no?
No. The Lions coach. Why am I blanking?
I don't know. His name. Too many new coaches this year.
Whatever
too
his
many
name.
new head
He was
coaches.
the Dolphins interim head coach like a couple years ago, and he was a tight end coach or whatever. But he's like, when we get knocked down, we're gonna stand back up, and not only we're gonna stand back up, we're gonna break the kneecap off of our opponent.
That's so
And I'm like,
weird.
so yeah, they're not going 0-16 because they're biting kneecaps off.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
You tell me, guy. Oh my goodness.
Whatever. So the Stafford Goff trade is official, and it is going to impact both teams in a positive way, I would say. Both teams got what they wanted, and both teams got what they needed. So that's that. Last thing we have is the NBA, and both of all four, sorry.
I don't know why I couldn't think of that.
Our teams played against each other, because us
Ugh.
three, being me, Brian, and Andrew, are Celtics fans, and Nick is a Lakers fan, and that was just
disgusting game.
It was terrible.
It was an interesting game. Nick, do you want to speak first? You've earned it. The Lakers won.
Well, first and foremost, I was watching that game yesterday or Saturday, whatever it was. I was, as a basketball fan, I always loved defense. I've always loved two teams. I like it when it's a challenge to score. I like watching those games when it's challenging to put the ball in the hoop, and it was for both teams yesterday. Neither team made over 10 threes. Celtics had 6 threes.
No Chick-fil-A sandwich.
And, at the end, but as a Lakers fan, that was very sloppy, especially down the stretch. I wasn't proud of the way that they closed out a 7-point lead with 3 minutes left. I wasn't proud of that. They didn't do it well. And I was happy with the comeback, but Lakers fan,
I really call it a comeback.
Yeah.
Well, they took it. They had an 8. They were down 7 going into the fourth quarter, and then they turned that into a 7-point lead.
Yeah, because the Celtics turned the ball over 10 times in the fourth.
Well, call it what you want. The Lakers came back down 7. So
hey Nick, do you have
what you want?
Do you have a specific 2 people that you would like to thank for the victory?
Yeah, I like to thank,
or even just one. You only really have to thank one, considering the outcome.
No, Daniel Tice. I'm gonna thank Daniel Tice. I'm gonna thank Rob Will, but not really Rob Will. More Daniel Tice twice and Kemba Walker once.
Goal, David
Kemba Walker for going 1 for 14 and breaking a wide open shot for the win. Daniel Tice for putting 2 points in the Lakers basket, and then, in my opinion, that putback at the end of the game. Hey,
that's a tough shot, though.
He got mugged by Harold. Yeah. That was a foul and a half.
Of course it was.
I think it was also after the clock.
You know what's funny? If that was a foul and a half, you're the first person I've heard say that. If that was a foul, you're the first person I've heard say that. I think that's funny. I've never heard anyone say that. I didn't hear. I went to work. I work with Jason and Jonathan. They're big Celtics fans. They didn't say anything. They worked
because nobody thought about that. Because
Luke didn't say it.
I don't even think it would have counted.
Luke was watching the game with me. He didn't even say it when it happened.
I don't even think it would have counted. It was after the whistle. But how does Kemba miss that shot? Kemba, that's your shot.
That is his bread and butter.
The worst max contract player in the NBA. Kemba heart attack Kemba.
He should have. Well, okay. First of all, he should never have thrown it into double coverage into Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown had to make a Julio Moss catch over a Caruso to even get that ball. He should have dribbled.
And Kemba either should have trying to call a timeout, not running.
Yeah, Kemba either should have waited to call a timeout because there were 6 seconds left, or he could have waited a little bit. But never mind. He shouldn't have waited. But he shouldn't have thrown that ball. He either should have thrown that ball when he was open, or just dribbled it himself and taken it himself. because
They also shouldn't have gone 1 for 12.
Yeah, that
doesn't help either.
That's definitely
I love the
a part of it.
I was pissed when Brown missed those free throws, but man, does ball not lie.
Ball does not lie. Oh
ball
man.
don't
that
lie.
that LeBron
The
foul.
foul
Yes.
on LeBron.
Ball does not lie.
That was not even close. He missed both of them,
LeBron-
right?
Yeah, he missed
did.
both.
And then also didn't help that Marcus was 2 for 7. So
And got hurt.
combined was that 3 for 21 or something
Yeah.
like that? So 3 for 21. It's pretty solid out of two of your nope.
Your 2
Smart
starting
doesn't start.
guards. Yeah, he did start in that game.
Oh, he did? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because they're just done with the 2 centers thing.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know what they're going to
Thank
do
God.
now without Pritchard.
Well,
and
Celtics need to get a center, or else they're not going to compete with.
I don't
with
know
the Sixers.
what-
They need
I
to
don't-
trade for Vucevic.
That would be good, but he doesn't rebound the ball a lot. He's just a scorer. They need someone
They
who
need
can
to trade for a.
rebound.
They need someone
Tristan
7
Thompson
foot or
can
higher.
rebound,
That's
but
why
he
I need
can't
someone-
score.
Tristan
Get someone
Thompson
that can defend a big man.
Tristan Thompson cannot catch a cold.
I
Swear
like
to God.
Tristan Thompson
I don't-
better than
I
I do
like-
Teague, though.
so
They should
I-
have signed Howard
yeah,
and McGee.
Okay,
Teague is
I like anybody other than Jeff Teague. I
don't
would
want
like
Jeff Teague on the
myself
floor.
going out on the court rather
I
than
don't
Jeff
want him
Teague.
ever. I don't want him to ever see the floor the rest of the season.
Me
He
neither.
doesn't deserve to see the floor.
No,
Tremont
he's
Waters and
terrible.
Carson Edwards should play over him. Jeff Teague has done nothing. He doesn't deserve to ever get a minute the rest of the season.
I just
Simple,
don't
plain and
understand
simple.
Brad now. Like like 4 or 5 years ago, Brad used to be the best young coach in the NBA. Now his rotations are suspect. 1 week, Nesmith could play 2 minutes of garbage time the entire week. The next week, he's playing 14 minutes against the Lakers on prime time on ABC.
Yeah, he did the same
what
thing
sense does that make?
with Grant Williams.
Yeah,
Grant Williams
Grant
was
doesn't
starting.
play at all anymore.
I know. I don't
Did he
understand.
play at all yesterday or Saturday?
No, I don't think
Did he
so.
see the floor, but Jeff Teague's on the floor.
and
They're other
Nesmith
different
played a
positions,
lot of.
but like
Nesmith played 8
I
minutes.
don't mind Nesmith playing. I don't. When they need someone to make a shot, I'm fine with that.
Well, he
He's
was
been
over
better.
2.
Well,
Okay, well,
one also rimmed out. It was almost in.
Oh, that counts though, right? They should count. They should count those, and not heartbreaks. They just count those as points.
He takes
Yeah, because he tried his
quality
hardest.
shots. He
Well, they
takes
shouldn't count them as
quality
points, but
shots.
like on the field goal thing, like where your
Rimmed
shots from the field, if you're 0 for 1, but it rimmed out, you should be 1 for 1, right? That's how that works.
Mm.
That's how it should
Yeah,
work.
Grant Williams did not get in the game at all.
Yeah, his
I don't.
rotations are just suspect. Like I get you can do that against bad teams on nights that doesn't really matter. But you don't have to. But you don't experiment on prime time on Saturday night against the Lakers. That's
no,
not.
you don't.
You can do that. I was
Who
fine
did the
with
Lakers not even. Who didn't see the floor for? They didn't play.
Quinn Cook.
They didn't play.
Tucker didn't play.
Markeith Morris didn't
Or
play. Wesley
THT
Matthews didn't
played.
play. Yeah, he did a
Oh,
little bit.
THT played.
He
THT played. He had a couple
He
of
played
steals.
20. He played 23 minutes.
Oh, he
HT
did?
played.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Did he
had a
ever
couple
shoot the
steals. They
ball?
didn't play
3 of 8
play
shooting,
Keith.
6 points.
They didn't,
Oh,
the Lakers
must have-
didn't beat Contra. Celtics didn't play Grant and Taco Fall. I don't know who the other person they didn't play.
Taco doesn't
Taco-
dress
Taco's
every
not
game.
gonna
play
anymore.
Taco
On
only
the other
dresses
side,
15
because
games.
of that, the
Javante
Lakers felt-
didn't play either.
On the other side, the Lakers felt
Javante
they
should
didn't need to
play.
play
Yeah.
Markeith Morris and Wes Matthews.
Yeah,
So.
I think it's an embarrassment
both
for the
teams play like
Boston
8
Celtics.
players.
Celtics were an embarrassment for one reason and one reason only. They let Kyle Kuzma score double-digit points.
Oh, Kuzma.
He averages double-digit
He-
points. What do
he
you,
hit
what do
a-
you expect?
He hit a
Right.
few wide open threes, so
Yeah,
it's
he
not
was
really.
so open.
The game plan was leave Kuzma open. And he hit the shots.
Yeah,
Tatum and
KCP
Brown,
was
they're
open
so
a
good.
bunch too.
Oh, the X factor was AD. I mean, he's if they play the Celtics 82 times, he probably. Put
I
up those
said it
numbers
at the
every time.
beginning of the game, Nick. I said it. I said AD is gonna have like 15
agreed
boards in
with
this
you.
game because the Celtics can't rebound.
Oh,
You're like,
I didn't agree
he'll
with you
have,
because
like,
I was.
Yeah,
mad at
you're
AD
like,
'cause
no,
he's always lazy.
He's not gonna
lazy.
get any, and he had like 8
Ooh.
boards in the first quarter. I was like,
Yeah.
see, the Celtics
Well,
can't rebound.
AD
Yeah.
AD's just a great matchup because he's taller than Tice. He's more athletic than Thompson. So
I mean, you wonder why AD and Embiid always do well. Well, Embiid always does
The
well
same
against the Celtics, it
person.
seems like, and then AD did well last night. They're always going to do well against the Celtics because of the matchup. That's more of an indicator of the Celtics. Like, hey, if you really want to be serious in the Eastern Conference, if you want to compete with these teams like Philly, or the Lakers, in the finals and whatever,
Don't say the
Big
word
man.
compete with Philly. I don't think I'm ever going to be concerned about playing Philly in the playoffs.
Well,
they
need a big
have
man.
beat the
You need a big
Celtics
man. They're
twice.
gonna need a big man.
We didn't have Tatum. We didn't have Tatum in both those games.
Okay.
We win by double digits.
Last year, the
lost them this year.
Last year the
we didn't have
Celtics went
Tatum in
1-3.
We also
Last year the
swept
The
them in
Celtics
the
went
playoffs.
1-3 last year against the Sixers, and then they swept them in the playoffs.
This is clearly a different Sixers team. I don't know what's different about
It
them.
isn't.
It's
the
because
fact that
Tobias
they're
Harris
still
is
bad on the
playing
road.
well. It's because Harris is playing well. That's why.
Well, there
He
it
hasn't.
is.
And they
He
have
didn't
a
play well
competent head
last year.
coach.
They're a better team.
Their head coaching is a little bit better.
Celtics would have won both those games if Tatum played. No doubt, no question.
Their interior presence still concerns me though.
If they just scored a couple more points, if they scored more points than Philly, they would have won that game. For sure.
What? Yeah.
Well, yeah, when you're missing a 28-point game score, you're probably going to lose.
Yes, I know.
Find 28 points.
But when's the last time? Like the Celtics have always had this issue. The last time they've had someone interior to the last time the Celtics have had someone down low to protect the paint was Kendrick Perkins. Since then, they haven't had anyone. All their centers are below average in height for NBA centers. They can't get offensive or defensive boards. I mean, Cantor was an exception, but he was literally playing 5-on-4 on offense if you were playing against the Celtics.
It literally was. It was bad.
He couldn't defend my sister. And then Tice is just small, and same with Thompson. I mean, they work hard, but they're just smaller than all the other centers, so they can't get boards.
Poor
and
Tice. The war on Tice.
It's been an issue with the Celtics for so long. I don't know.
What's the war on Tice?
He leads the league in fouls in the last 3 seasons.
That's his fault that he leads the league in fouls. That's not anyone. That's
Dude,
not
if
anyone
you watch a
else's fault but
Celtics game
his.
every night, 50% of those fouls are not fouls.
When you're a Celtics fan, they're not. When you're
No,
a
they're
regular
just
sports
simply
fan,
not
they probably
fouls.
are.
Dude,
50% of
half
the
the time
fouls
he
aren't
doesn't
fouls when
touch
you're
the
a
guy and
Celtics
they
fan.
call the whistle. If
It's
there's
like 50%
contact,
of-
it's on Tice no
50%
matter what.
50% of the time LeBron goes to the basket, he gets fouled because I'm a Lakers fan and I see it that way. But it doesn't mean it's true.
Well,
50%
they don't let the defenders defend, so the poor guy can't do anything.
They don't. That's constant for everybody.
It's a freaking Celtics.
If it's the war
on
if
just
that's
go
your
on Twitter and search "war on Tice." You'll find
if that's your
plenty
reasoning, and then it's the war on everybody because they don't let anyone
It's a literal
defend.
thing. It's the war on Tice. It's a fact.
Yes. It's an actual thing.
We should
It
sign
is
a
a thing.
petition and tell them to. I don't know.
Just stop it.
Consider that Tice fouls a lot, just complains.
Yeah. Oh, so
Sometimes he does, or he doesn't complain. He complains a lot just because he doesn't get calls.
Yeah.
But there are some times where he's just smaller and he just can't do anything about it.
yeah.
So I mean, it's not. It's
I
not
don't-
like. Go ahead.
I don't like that. I don't like that thing. I don't like the things that fans do where they automatically assume that the referee's foul call is terrible just because the first thing the player does is throw their arms up in the air and cry like a baby. Like you got to
Well,
wait
maybe.
until you see the instant replay. And if it's
Yeah.
not worth showing, then it probably was a foul. And the instant replay will show you, is that a foul or is that not? Just because the player complains of it call doesn't mean it's a foul.
Well, yeah, that's the
Doesn't mean
same
it's not a
thing.
foul. Tice literally, I watching the game, Tice picked up, 4 or 5 fouls? I don't know how many fouls the guy had. He complained after every foul. He had this look. He was just like after every foul. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
well, if you do
Every
that
guy
every
does
time,
that,
someone's
but
going to
there's
believe
also-
you
He
didn't.
does the
Someone's
same
going to
thing
believe it's the
every
war
time.
on you if you make that face every time. Like LeBron jumps him down like a baby every time he gets a foul call. But I watch the replay. I'm
And
like,
he-
oh
and he-
yeah,
and he-
he smacked him on the arm, so there's no point in complaining. Sometimes
And
there is
he-
room
and
to
he-
complain.
and
That's
he
what
and
the
he
replay's
makes
for.
the LeBron like crying face where he like
Yeah.
Well, he
squints
does.
and
He's
He
just like-
does. That's what players do. Now, people nowadays are like, all they.
he
there's a foul,
fast
you look at the
walks and,
player, if
like,
he's complaining-
stomps and is like-
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a foul call in the league, the first thing some of the fans do, the degenerate fans, first thing they do is that they look at the player. Is the player mad? Is he? What's the player's reaction to the call? Oh, it's bad. Okay, I should be mad too.
It's like what we were talking about with Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel looks at
Yeah.
LeBron. He's like, LeBron, is that a foul? Oh, yep, we're challenging the call. Thanks, LeBron.
He's like,
looks
it's a
at
foul
LeBron
call.
for
He looks to his
everything.
left at LeBron on the bench. If LeBron's got a straight face, let him play. If he's like pissed, challenge the call.
It's our ball.
That's what fans are like watching the. Watch
ball,
like that's what we are so like. Some fans are so oblivious to the actual call on the floor that all they're doing is looking at the player's reaction. The player's gonna complain 90% of the time, but that doesn't mean it's a foul, or it doesn't mean it isn't a foul. You know what? The refs call is the refs call. You look at the replay, you find out for yourself, and you know what? In my opinion, I think I don't remember seeing a Daniel Tice foul on Saturday where I was like, oh, that's not a foul.
I'm not necessarily saying Saturday. I'm just saying look up the war on Tice, and you will find something about the war on Tice.
I'll find something on the war on drugs too. I mean, find something
Wow.
on anything.
Okay. Well, is there anything else we need to talk about?
Oh, I
Is
would
that
like
thing
to
that
talk
was it?
about one more thing.
Okay.
It's about how what's his face? Aaron Gordon is officially my new favorite player in the NBA.
Ugh, no, I don't want him to go to the
Why?
Ew.
What did he do? What did I miss? What did he?
He put
He's
his shoulder straight into Kyle Lowry's face.
Oh, when was this?
It was last night. It was last night. So apparently it goes back to the bubble where Kyle Lowry like did something stupid to Aaron Gordon or whatever, and Kyle Lowry's just like, oh, I'm gonna hurt this guy. Like, oh, shut up, Kyle Lowry. You're like 6'3", 220. Anyways, and then he just gets a shoulder. Yeah, but he gets a shoulder straight to his face, and he goes down, and he's like crying on the ground. It wasn't like that bad, but it was still great to see. Love to see.
What happens when Aaron Gordon's shoulder is 6'3", and so is Kyle Lowry's face?
Yeah. I mean, Brian knows. Brian knows what
his shoulder's 6'3".
What?
Brian knows what it's like to get a shoulder straight to the
mouth.
face.
Oh, that's true.
No, okay. This is what I want to say. I want to end with this. I swear, if the Celtics use the largest trade exception in NBA history to get a 37-year-old shooting guard who averages about 8 points a game on $13 million, I'm going to be so upset.
Who are you talking about?
Trade JJ Redick. There have been rumors that the Celtics are going to use that trade exception to trade for JJ Redick.
What's the trade exception? Can someone explain that to me?
So they have $28 million, basically free $28 million to trade with teams to match contracts. So say like they wanted to get Beal, who's on a 30-year, $36 million a year contract. They can take that $28 million and attach it to someone with $36 million?
Yeah.
So they can attach that to someone who's making $8 million to make the money match up. So it's basically just trading someone on an $8 million contract or someone that's a $36 million contract.
Why the hell does a team that is top 10 in the league in 3-point need another 3-point shooter? How about you trade for a GD
That's what I'm
center?
saying. That's why I'm saying. I
That's
don't know
what
why
I'm
they
saying.
would.
That's the reason. That's part of the reason why they haven't been to the finals since they played the Lakers in 2010.
I would take Bradley Beal.
They need a center.
Would cost Brown, honestly.
They need a center. They need a dominant center. Not even dominant. Just a guy just a guy that can hold his own name in the paint.
And this is why
this guy just did.
I know. I was just gonna say. I know you guys don't like him, but I wish they got Drummond when they did, and they still can because Drummond is good. He doesn't need to be anything. He doesn't need to be a scorer. He just needs to be there to rebound the ball and block a few shots. That's it.
They should have signed. They should have signed one of Howard or McGee, and
trade for Towns
because you don't have to give up anything for them. They're not. You're not paying a ton of money, but it really doesn't seem like Boston has any interest in any kind of
point. Minnesota's
Carl Anthony Towns. He's gonna cost at least Brown.
People.
Not for
Carl Anthony Towns. Minnesota's not going to trade Cat.
The Celtics don't have anyone to trade.
They're building around. That's why they have Russell.
They don't have him.
They're building around him, Russell, and now Edwards. Even
building around to be the freaking lottery pick every single season.
Yeah, they're not going to be good at. They're never going to be.
Good.
I feel like they should though.
They should have signed. The Celtics should trade for Turner. Why don't they trade for Turner?
I love Miles.
Because Miles.
Why wouldn't you trade for Miles Turner? Why don't you give away your max contract point guard?
He doesn't
for Miles Turner.
He doesn't get that.
Is it because no one wants Kemba anymore because he's buns?
Because no, he's not. He just had one bad game. Because Miles Turner averages 5 No, really. He was hurt in the bubble, and he's been averaging 20 points in the 5 games he's played.
Oh, come on. You can't sit here and tell me he was the reason you guys lost. He wasn't the reason you lost to the Heat. He was terrible against the Heat.
We lost to the Heat because we didn't have a center, and also because Kemba had
there
a
you go.
knee injury.
Reason.
And I'm saying Miles Turner, yes, he's great and all, but he's not a center. He's Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah.
He averages like 4 blocks a game.
He averages 4 blocks a game. What else does he do? Average 5 rebounds. Congratulations, buddy.
He's not
defensive help.
He's a good shot blocker. So shot blocker and post defender are 2 completely different things. The Celtics need a post defender, but they don't need a shot blocker. A shot blocker is Rob Will. A shot blocker is Rob Will. He can't.
Yes.
Fine, Dwight Howard. But like what I'm saying is, Rob Will is a shot blocker.
You just don't like Howard. They should have signed him this offseason, though.
No,
you just don't like him.
No, I don't want this guy.
You don't have to pay. Here's the thing: the Celtics clearly don't have no interest in paying a center a lot of money because they would have done it already. Because that's the reason they're losing. They're not making to the finals. So if not, you just sign Howard. You don't sign him for much. He's a post defender. He can get rebounds. He'll give you quality minutes. Yeah, I'll get into foul trouble. That's why you have Tice. You have a backup center for a reason. You have Howard. You put him in against guys like Embiid or Davis, guys that will control the post because he's a big, strong guy. He can lock down the post. He's still a good defender, and he'll get you about a block and a half a game. But reality, that's more like, he steps up. He might not be a good. You don't need him offensively because you have Tatum and Brown for a reason.
You don't need anyone offensively.
You don't need anyone offensively. Just get this guy defense. Howard will just give you quality minutes on the defensive end of the paint. You should have signed Howard. They didn't. Not you. The Celtics should have signed Howard. And you know what? They didn't. But
I think Tice would be a great backup center, which he basically is. I mean, he can score the ball. His shooting has gotten a lot better. He can still block shots. He just gets bullied trying to rebound the ball.
Yeah. Rebound and post defense. That's why they need someone who can play post defense, especially if they have Embiid in the same conference. And then if they want to go to the finals, sure, Anthony Davis, but still, it's really just getting out of the East at this point.
Yes.
And yeah, that's all. Oh, I'll also be very upset because I can also see Danny Ainge sitting on this trade exception and having it expire. So
he won't.
Who knows? He drafted with 2 useless first-round picks this year. Yes, it turned into Pritchard, which is awesome, but there was really no need for them to draft this year. But regardless, doesn't matter. That's it. Any final thoughts?
Go Pats.
Go Pats. Don't want to repeat what Brian said. Andrew.
I gotta think of something.
Go Pats. All right.
You know what? Just go Pats. Whatever.
Thank you guys for listening. Go follow us on Instagram and go Chiefs. Go follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Big 4 _ podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Peace.